John, belated Merry Christmas, soon to be Happy New Year. Thank you so much for your flexibility in scheduling. Welcome everyone to a YouTube preview of the upcoming sponsor exclusive show, John Cullen's Las Vegas Investigation. How are you tonight, John? Today, whatever time it is.
I'm well. I'm well, Jason. Good to see you.
Good to see you, John. And for people who are maybe joining us for the first time, we're going to be starting our sponsor-only show on patreon.com/IamJohnCullen, patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, and the corresponding subscribe star channels for each of us in just 30 minutes. Tonight we're going to be talking about something that happened. I think you might have touched on this in our last show, but why don't you fill everybody in, tell us exactly what's going on.
Sure. I'm preparing to launch a video, hopefully later tonight. It's been uploading for quite some time now. And this video both looks at some footage that had been published by Sam Tripoli on Tinfoil Hat, and how gracious a host he was to have me on his show. And then it looks at a video that had been published by InfoWars and Alex Jones. And this was their documentary of the shooting in Las Vegas, the 2-year documentary. Mm-hmm. And I think the name of the video was What Happens in Vegas Stays in Vegas. And I think they published it on or around October 1st, 2019. And in this particular video of theirs, it appears that they use quite a bit of footage from the Johnny Hoover channel, the copyrighted footage, the work that I've done, and they incorporate it into their video. Mm-hmm. And so the question then is, was that an accident? Was that done on purpose? Do they give me the accreditation that they're supposed to, things like that. So I'm uploading a video right now that takes a much closer look at that. And then it digs into what is the Alex Jones understanding of the Saudi hypothesis, so to speak.
Right.
And we dig into that.
Mm-hmm. I saw Laura Loomer over Hanukkah. Many people saw the tweet. And she remains convinced that it was an ISIS event. That's not quite exactly your interpretation, but is there some gray area there, John? What's your take on the whole ISIS aspect?
Well, again, I've named names, right? So these specific people are the people that had a motive, and they had the means, and they had the opportunity. So in naming names, you can't get more specific than that, right? So now, do those people affiliate with Al Qaeda? Do they affiliate with ISIS? The guys that were on board these aircraft that were shooting people, same question. Do they affiliate with Al Qaeda? Do they affiliate with ISIS? Do they consider themselves one or the other? I don't know the answer to that, and I'm not sure I really care. Right? I think the real question is, who was behind it, who financed it, who funded it, who planned it, who had the motive, who had the opportunity, who had the means. And so, again, if categorically you want to label the people who carried it out ISIS, you're probably not that far off the mark. But again, I'm naming names. I'm getting real specific. Right. And that's why my identity is somewhat concealed.
Right. Yeah, and that makes sense. So, okay, as I understand it, you're saying that it's potentially shades of maybe semantics, the difference between ISIS and the Saudi individuals that you've been naming could very well be involved in funding ISIS, using proxy, army type things. We know that that's happening all the time. The John Podesta emails between her and between Hillary Clinton and Hillary Clinton herself says that Saudi Arabia is funding ISIS. So certainly utilizing some ISIS crew to say, hey, we did this, could easily be a disinformation tactic or just to confuse the whole thing. So we've got to get Laura involved in one of these conversations pretty soon.
Sure. I'm a big fan of something called the law of large numbers, right? And when you're looking at something like the Saudi Arabian National Guard, the law of large numbers applies. We have 250,000 people that are members of the Saudi Arabian National Guard, right? Mm-hmm. And so the law of large numbers, we can get into the specifics of it, but the net of it is that if we're working with a number like 250,000 members of the Saudi Arabian National Guard, right? Would you say that more than one or two of them has negative feelings towards the United States? And
yes.
Right? Yeah. So out of 250,000, is it reasonable to expect that there's, more than a dozen or two that feel strongly, that they hate America? All right. So then, of those people, would it be reasonable to expect that all of them identify as Al-Qaeda? Or all of them identify as ISIS? I think no. I think it's more reasonable to expect that there's a spectrum of beliefs throughout the throughout the Saudi military. And so it's that spectrum of beliefs. And, similar to Pensacola. If you read the guy in Pensacola's manifesto, mm-hmm. It's not that insane. I mean, he's talking about American foreign policy and and you know what? American foreign policy, I've got issues with American foreign policy, but you don't shoot people over it.
Right.
Right? This is the difference between their culture, our culture, what they think is okay and acceptable, and what's acceptable here. It's not okay to shoot people and kill people because you disagree with America's foreign policy. That's not okay.
Right.
And we have circumstances here that, again, this is just out of control. So, Alex, I don't know, have you stumbled across his...
I'm looking for it. It's, it's very difficult to find things. See, part of the problem that we're dealing with, John, is that YouTube's business model is similar to that of a heroin dealer. They've given us this product for free to get everybody hooked on it. So now when an alternative product comes along that's not as good, nobody wants to deal with it, and it's very difficult for competitors to create a competitive product and get any traction. So I'm trying to search for this video that you're talking about. Now, you had emailed it to me because I'm not seeing it in the email and I'm not seeing it here.
Can you search across banned.video simply for the word Vegas? And let's see what we find if we just simply search for Vegas.
It was bringing up way too many results. Here's the David
so this
Knight
is 3
show.
months ago. No, that was after the broadcast. The cover-up exposed. Maybe that was at the second one.
Stays in Vegas. Greg.
That's
Brace?
it. That's it. Yeah, that's the video. So in this video, all right. So let me kind of set it up.
Well, let's not show it here because I don't want people to be striking videos on YouTube. We've got a little more flexibility in showing things on patreon.com/IamJohnCullen and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. YouTube's got, in addition to a heroin dealer business model, very draconian copyright policies where someone doesn't actually need to bring a legal copyright claim against you through the courts and that sort of thing. They can just tell YouTube it's a copyright claim, and we could have a situation where Alex Jones can take your video and you might have a copyright claim against him. We could then show that very same video containing your footage, and the way YouTube is set up, the owner of that stolen video of yours could do a copyright strike against me. So my personal feeling is all of these digital networks should basically say, you know what, we're adhering to the law, so if you've got a copyright claim against someone, bring a lawsuit against them, get a judgment from a court that says that they violated your copyright, and then we'll take the thing down. We've got a little bit of a copyright strike war happening around YouTube right now, and it's temporarily disabled live streaming on the Jason Goodman channel, which is the main channel that normally serves out videos to about 90,000 subscribers. You do cause me to remember that I want to let everybody know, John, that whenever you and I do these YouTube previews prior to the Patreon sponsor-only exclusive shows, we are simulcasting them on the John E. Hoover YouTube channel. So if people aren't familiar with John and his work, now is a great opportunity to subscribe to John E. Hoover on YouTube. You can watch live streams with John and myself simulcast on his channel, and hopefully in March or sometime prior, live streaming will be back on the Jason Goodman channel. And of course, until then, people can watch the live streams on patreon.com and on subscribestar.com. Sorry, John, what were you going to tell us?
Well, in this video footage that we see from InfoWars, it appears that they're using some of the graphics that I had produced, and yet they don't give any credit to the channel. And so as I'm watching them using the materials that I've produced, then they start talking about the theories and the hypotheses. And so the sentiment that I have is, geez, guys, if you're going to steal my material, the least you could do is get the hypothesis right. If you want, you can just go to 51 seconds in, and you'll see some of the stuff that they stole 51 seconds into the video.
Well, let's not categorize it as stealing. They're utilizing the material, and they should have given you attribution. I wish they would do that. They've used my material in the past, and they've mentioned my name, which I appreciate. Now, this all just looks like, footage that's sort of gotten from everywhere. This is the stuff that you created, right?
Right. So when you don't give the author credit for it, and you don't ask for permission, and you're not critiquing it, and you're not doing satire, it starts crossing into the boundaries potentially of copyright theft. And so there's a big difference between fair use and using someone else's research materials and putting them forward as if they're your own. So when you see News Wars logo and no mention of my work, and they're covering up my watermark, which is in the same lower right-hand corner with their spinning logo.
That's not cool.
Right. So, right. So that now, I'm not a judge and I'm not a jury, so I'm not the one to determine whether or not it's copyright theft. I'm the one that says this certainly appears to be evidence of copyright theft, and we'll let somebody else determine whether it is or it isn't.
Infringement. I just want to make sure that we're categorizing this stuff correctly and not accusing people, because, I don't want this to turn into some major beef. Everybody is beefing right now on YouTube and trying to increase lawsuits and increase all of this litigation. We're not interested in that. I frankly have no problem with Alex Jones. He's over the top. I sometimes like that. I think he's done a great job of building up InfoWars as an independent news agency. It's essentially something that each of us are trying to do, break away from the mainstream and create something not necessarily like InfoWars, but an independent news service like that. So I personally would like to see a situation where we can cooperate with somebody like InfoWars and have them give you the credit you deserve, because it would send more people to your information rather than taking it and twisting it.
Absolutely. But that's not what happened. And so Alex should know better. And I'm not making any accusations. I'm just putting forward evidence. And we're going to let the audience decide. What does the audience think? So I'm not big on accusations. I'm big on evidence.
Absolutely.
So we're going to take a look at it. And there's a lot of material here. So we'll take a much closer look at that. And then if we have time during the next hour, we can also talk about some things that were in the news last weekend in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if the audience heard a lot about Middle Beast, but this Middle Beast event took place in Riyadh, and this was an attempt by MBS to work on his image and the image of Saudi Arabia. And if we have some time, we can talk about that. So Middle Beast,
That
And
sounds
this was a
weird,
huge,
Middle Beast.
yeah. So Middle Beast was a huge music festival, and this took place last weekend in Riyadh,
Wow.
and it was rather spectacular. And a whole number of celebrities attended, and a number of celebrity DJs were the entertainment, and
Wow.
Steve Aoki, David Goyeta, etc. So this is unprecedented. This is a rave. This is an EDM rave in Saudi Arabia. This is absolutely unprecedented. Nothing like this has happened in 50 years
Wow.
in the country.
I
Yeah.
mean, I would
So this is
imagine more than 50 years. It's not like they had ancient, electronic music
no
raves.
back in the 70s. No, back in the 70s. In the 70s. So maybe not 50 years, but in the mid 70s, people were wearing Levi's in Riyadh.
Wow.
It
Interesting.
wasn't, yeah, it wasn't as strict. Same thing in Afghanistan. Same thing. So both countries became much more strict after what happened in Iran.
Yeah.
So
Right. Well, all right. We're almost out of time here with the preview, John. There's a lot of unfounded comments here that I'm seeing accusing Alex Jones of things, accusing you of things. People like to put their opinions into the comments. That's not really so helpful. What we're trying to do is put relevant information in there that can lead us to a better understanding of what we're talking about. If you just want to say this person's a shill, this person's a shill, this person works for the CIA, I don't know what evidence anybody has of any of that, but So people are saying
that's
something
typical.
useful here, which is that the person who posted this video is apparently an employee of InfoWars, this Greg Reese, and perhaps it's not exactly Alex Jones who posted it. That's another thing that people have to be careful of. I think that got Field McConnell a little bit jammed up. When you allow people to use your brand who aren't you, they sometimes do things that you might not do and might not approve of. So again, I want to be careful that we're not, what the hell just happened there? I want to be careful that we're not accusing Alex Jones of anything. But just to bring some attention to this, wow, it's got 128,000 views. See, now that's the thing. You do all this work and then somebody else gets 128,000 views, in part utilizing material that you created. It would be nice if even 1% of that 128,000 would visit the John E. Hoover YouTube channel and subscribe. That would help you get your message out. That would help you spread the word about patreon.com/IamJohnCullen, and also patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, where we're going to be starting our sponsor exclusive show in just a little more than 10 minutes from now. So John, we'll get into detail here on the News Wars video, the use of your material, the Middle Beast Music Festival. Pretty ironic that Saudi Arabia would plan a music festival after all the information that you've presented that indicates that Saudi Arabia may well have been behind the attack on the music festival in Las Vegas. Anything you want to say real quick before we transition over to the sponsor exclusive show?
No, I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of material to share. I think you're going to be shocked.
Great. You know what? I'm frequently shocked by the material that you share with me, John, and that's part of the reason why you and I have created this show. I really enjoy your method, the evidence that you've presented. You and I have spent some personal time together. We've become friends, so I'm looking forward to the show as well. And thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you over there 10 minutes from now at patreon.com/IamJohnCullen and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth and Subscribestar for both of those channels. We'll see everybody there. Thanks very much.
Thank you.